Hello everyone and welcome to the 18th episode of the iGaming show presented by Paramount Commerce. I'm your host Varad Mehta, and in this podcast we analyze gaming industry trends with experts from various gaming organizations. In today's episode, we will talk about regulated iGaming and sports betting making its way to Alberta with the Minister of Service Alberta and Red Tape Reduction of Alberta, Minister Dale Nally. So without further ado, let's get the show rolling.
So Minister Nally, how we begin this podcast is by asking you a few fun questions. So I have a couple lined up for you.
Okay.
I saw you behind the grill at a fundraising, I think it was a golf tournament, if I'm not mistaken. So I have to ask you, what is the best dish you feel you can absolutely deliver all the time?
Oh, wow. Jeez. I make a spaghetti bolognese like nobody's business. And I'll tell you what I do is I am a big fan of the Instant Pot. And I have this recipe where I cook the bolognese sauce and I put the pasta right in the bolognese sauce and I seal the Instant Pot. And so you actually cook the pasta right with the bolognese. And it actually is just a taste explosion in your mouth. Just because the whole flavor profile of the pasta changes when you cook it with the bolognese. And I have never had anyone not rave about my spaghetti bolognese.
There we go. If you see Minister Nally, you need to get the recipe or you have to ask him to bring you some. So next time, yeah.
There you go.
Yes. Just one or two last ones. Then I'm gonna ask you what these slang term means. Okay, so I'll name you some modern day slang terms, and you have to tell me what they mean or what you think they could possibly be.
Okay.
Okay. The first one is, do you know what cap is?
I do not.
Okay. What if I put it in and like that's cap? If I said, Mr. Nally, that's cap, what do you
Well,
think that
I would say it's a descriptive term to suggest something is awesome or amazing.
You're close. So cap means it could potentially be a lie or something false.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Then we have drip. Like I'd say, hey, Minister Nally, you got some amazing drip on you. What do you think drip would be?
I don't even want to guess on that one.
Clothes.
Oh, clothes. Okay,
Clothes.
Well, that's not where I went. I like your definition better. Okay, clothes. I got some cool drip, and I like your drip. Got it.
I love it. And the last one is bussin'. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. I'm feeling old, but bussin'. If I said your spaghetti bolognese is bussin', what do you think that means?
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to go with Riz first, but now that you used it in a sentence, I would just have to say that it's just something. It's another term for awesome.
Yes, there you go. That's it. Okay,
right.
There we go. That was slang terms with Minister Nally. Last question, and I really wanted to ask this to you because I saw you speak at the Canadian Gaming Summit. You are a wonderful speaker. You really engage with the audience. You had some some nice punches for ice hockey in Ontario. So can you give us a few tips for delivering like a really, really good speech, how to engage the audience?
Yeah, the best tip that I can give people is to know your content and don't write it out. So if it's a very technical speech that I'm not comfortable with the content, I'll read it. But I try not to read my speeches. I don't go off script. So I have department officials there. They will write my speeches for me, and then they'll have them approved by 3 other people. So we know that the content is accurate, reflects the direction of where we're going. I then take that speech, and some people will just read it, but I take it and I just sort of break it up into chunks. And so I will take the entire speech and I will condense it on one page. So I only need one page in my hand, and I just speak from blocks. So for that speech that you saw me give at the Canadian Gaming Conference, one of my blocks would have been economy, right? And I talked about our strong economy for probably 10 minutes longer than I should have. And so that's my advice, because people, when they speak from the heart, it seems like they're speaking from the heart when it's not written down. When it's written down, it just looks like it's not from the heart, that someone else wrote it. So yeah, that's my advice. But in order to do that, you must know your material.
So be passionate about what you're saying, and just know your shit. There you go.
Know your shit. There you go.
Love it. Okay, and now sadly we have to move on from the fun questions to
those first questions.
So sorry, Minister. What'd you say?
I loved your first questions. I like that theme of keeping it fun.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, and we'd like to keep it chill. We want to, you guys are leaders in the space, so we just want to know that there's a fun side to you as well. So I love that you were so gracious and you answered those questions. But now going to the topic of discussion, talking about Alberta and the possibility of Alberta having a regulated iGaming market. But I'd like to sort of break this down into sections. How about we start with why the passing of Bill 16 was important for the province of Alberta?
Yeah, we engaged with a lot of the online operators, and we heard from them loud and clear that they would not come to Alberta as long as AGLC is the regulator. Because as you know, AGLC is had responsibility to conduct and manage gaming, and they launched Play Alberta, which is a government site for iGaming. And so if we were to have kept things the way they were, the operators that came here would literally have to share their data, their gaming data, with their competitor. And they told us loud and clear they're not going to do that. So Bill 16 did a number of things, but one of the key things for iGaming is it gave the minister responsibility to conduct and manage gaming. And that means that companies can come here and they're not going to deal with AGLC. They don't have to give their data to a competitor. And so they can have confidence that when they're dealing with the government of Alberta, they're not dealing with a competitor.
Mhm. And who has the province kind of consulted to get the ball rolling with regulated iGaming in the province?
Well, I have to say our best partner has been Ontario. They've been a good friend to us, and I'll give a shout out to Minister Downey, who has been a leader in the space, and I've met with a number of times, and they have been very agreeable to working with us, sharing us their best practices, what went well, what didn't go well, what we could do better, that type of thing. So they've been just fabulous. We've also met with iGo as well, which has been a great partner as well. We also met with regulators across Europe. We were at the London Gaming Conference, and we met with a number of regulators from Europe that give us some of their best advice on how we can move forward. So we cast the net as wide as we could in terms of getting the advice, because we really want to get this right, and so we cast the net wide to get the best advice we possibly could.
And Minister, are you exploring different models from different regions to get what is kind of best for Alberta, or are you taking more of like the approach that Ontario has taken for their regulated space?
Well, again, it's fair to say that we are looking at every possible scenario, but it's not a secret that we're free market conservatives. We believe in an open market approach, and that's one of the things that I think Ontario really got right. Is they have an open and free market for gaming. They had, there's slightly over 50 operators now, I believe, that are working in that space in Ontario, and they have done a tremendous job to get companies out of the gray market. And so, yeah, we believe in the free market approach. And while we're not ready to announce exactly what it's going to look like, I'm confident in telling people that it will be a free and open market.
That's fair. And during your speech during the Canadian Gaming Summit, what I really loved, what you highlighted was the love and the passion that Albertans have for sports, for gaming. Can you tell us what makes Alberta's gaming industry and the players potentially from the province a little bit different from Ontario and other regions?
Yeah, absolutely. And it starts from the Alberta advantage. It starts from the fact that we are a low tax environment. We've got low corporate taxes. We've got no sales tax. We've got no employment taxes. We have a tiny land transfer tax. We just are a low tax jurisdiction, which means people have more disposable income. But we also have a younger population because of the energy industry, and we also have higher wages. And in addition to all that, we have a lower cost of living. So, you might in Toronto buy a condo for $700,000-800,000 that you can get for half of that here. And that means Albertans have a lot more disposable income, and we love our sports. And I think the example I gave in Toronto was Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, and our 50-50 hit 16 million. Now, that was a couple of games. There was a couple of games in there, right? But think about that. Edmonton Oilers 50-50 that did 16 million. That's crazy. So the fact is Albertans love our sports, and occasionally we like to wager on it as well. So I think operators that come here are going to be really happy for the sports environment they're going to encounter.
I'd love for you to expand on that because I think you highlighted some of those things so well during your speech. You spoke about like sort of the economic benefits that
Yeah.
Alberta could offer to any, any commercial gaming operators who want to move into that space, or
Oh, yeah.
potentially even affiliates who are linked to the gaming industry. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Absolutely. We have the lowest corporate taxes in Canada. We're cheaper than 44 US states. Our corporate taxes put us in line with Louisiana and Texas. I mean, that means we have low taxes. That's in addition to the no provincial sales tax. And I'm not sure if you saw my title, but I'm the Minister for Service Alberta and Red Tape Reduction. And we have gone after red tape with a vengeance. And we have gone after unnecessary bureaucracy, and we've eliminated 33% of the red tape in this province, and we have saved job creators and Albertans $2.75 billion. And that makes life better for Albertans, and it makes life more convenient, and it certainly makes life more affordable. Now, you take all those advantages of, and by the way, I should probably also add, our economy is on fire. People used to think of Alberta as oil and gas, and I mean, we have the largest petrochemical industry in the country right here in Alberta, but we're so much more than oil, gas, and petrochemical. We're expanding into clean energies like hydrogen. We also have de Havilland. That's the one that gets me excited. Who thought Alberta would start manufacturing airplanes? But de Havilland's going to build their water bombers right here. Amazon made a $4 billion cloud computing investment in this province. I mean, our economy's on fire, and so we have a bit of a crisis now. We need more people in this province, and so that's why you probably see the Alberta is Calling campaign, just because our economy is so hot. But in addition to that hot economy and high wages, we still have a low cost of living, and that just makes for a more enjoyable place to live, work, and raise your family. So yeah, our province is growing quickly, and I would encourage not just the operators, not just people that are in the gaming space, but anybody from Ontario, wherever, come check out Alberta. You're going to like what you see, and I say this all the time. You won't come for the weather, but you'll stay for the low taxes, the low cost of living, and the friendly people.
I like that. And one more thing that I saw you highlight during your speech was responsible gaming and responsible advertising, which was something really interesting that you spoke about. And apart from you highlighting the importance of economic benefits and the sort of what is happening in Alberta when it comes to regulated iGaming, the iGaming space, this is something that's equally important for consumers and businesses and all sort of stakeholders involved. So, how do you think that the province will approach responsible gambling in Alberta?
Well, I mean, I can't tell you exactly what it's going to look like because we're having those conversations now. We are speaking with operators that are in this space on what they can bring to the equation. We're talking to the Responsible Gambling Council. We're talking to regulators across Europe, and as well as regulators in North America. We're trying to get the best advice we can on what a responsible and safer space for online gaming looks like. Because I want to be clear. I don't want the headline in the paper in Calgary or Edmonton to read that Alberta government brings online gaming to Alberta, because the fact is online gaming is already here. I want the headline to read that the Alberta government makes online gaming more responsible and more safer. And that's the goal of this. And so there's a lot of different things that I've heard, things that you can let people know how long they've been gaming. You can monitor their betting patterns, and you can give people a chance to opt out. So there's a bunch of things. We are going to, and like I said, we're still in the process right now of deciding which are the best practices that are going to ensure that Albertans have not just an enjoyable but a safe and responsible gaming experience. And that's what we're going to bring forward, because it will be a pillar of our iGaming strategy. Will be safe, responsible gambling.
No, 100%. I think I remember from your speech when I heard it, it was big on consumer protection, RG, responsible advertising. So that's amazing that you guys are so taking full force into that. And my last question, Minister, would be I hate to put a timeline, or I just want to know what is next in the consultation process, and what do you kind of expect from the province, and when will they be kind of ready for operators coming in the province? I remember you even spoke about consulting with First Nations. So if you could tell what's kind of are the next steps in this process, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, we're just in the process actually of completing our engagement with First Nations, and we're going to begin our engagement with land-based casinos as well as racing entertainment centers. And so we are going to be doing that this summer. We're going to be completing that entire process. The department right now is working with lawyers in the gaming space, with regulators, looking at what regulations need to look like in Alberta. So all that work is happening now. Now, I regret to tell you that if I were to tell you what date we plan on going live, there would be a lot of other media outlets that would be very upset that I didn't give them the scoop because I told them no. So I can't give you a date, but here's what I'll tell you. We are going to move with speed. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are pleasantly surprised with how fast we move in the space in Alberta. We move quickly. We deliver results and we get things done. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this space. We've got a date in mind. We're not ready to share it. But when we do, we are going to launch an iGaming strategy that is going to be fun for the consumer, and it's going to have a strong emphasis on safety, responsibility, as well as an attractive place for gamers to come set up shop. So I think you'll be happy, but I can't quite tell you that date just yet.
No, I love it. And, you sold me on coming to Alberta, your spaghetti, and, this market that's to come. So I really, really appreciate your time, Minister. It must be a crazy busy time for you working on so much. But I really appreciate you coming on the show and kind of sharing what the province is working on, what you're working on with your team and everyone, all across different regions. Thank you again for this. It really means a lot. And yes, I hope anyone and everyone who listens to this podcast can learn a lot from Minister Nally.
Thank you very much. And I can't wait to come back and speak with you again.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye now.
From economic benefits to consumer protection, regulated iGaming and sports betting in Alberta will bring a lot of benefits for players, businesses, and the province itself. I want to thank the Minister of Service Alberta and Red Tape Reduction of Alberta, Minister Dale Nally, for joining us today and providing his expertise. If you have any questions for us or Minister Nally, please do comment them down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For the episode transcript and more amazing content, please visit ParamountCommerce.com. Thank you so much for tuning into the iGaming show presented by Paramount Commerce. I'm your host, Varad Mehta, and until next time, keep gaming.